What's going on there, everybody? Hope you're having a good one. And a bit of an announcement happened just earlier today. We are going to be checking out an update to retro games, something you don't hear ever. Well, with the new collections that Capcom has been releasing, a very big update is going forward. So, for the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game collection and the Capcom Fighting Collection 1 and the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, there is going to be a very big update going through. And what we are going to be seeing is a couple of things that are going to be reviewed more in depth in this video. So let's check out our first game here, and it's the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, and that's the one that they actually go over the adjustments with, and then we're going to see how it applies to the other games. So here we go. Okay, so what are we seeing here that is going to be coming through on April 16th? Well, they're saying that for the Capcom and Marvel collection, the Capcom Fighting Collection and the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, there is going to be some of the changes are going to be resolution options, better definition, offline versus option, menu button setting for missed inputs, and game reset. And you can decide to go back into that portion of the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to look into the Marvel vs. Capcom, our Marvel and Capcom collection. We're going to go through the video again. And we are going to see all the different things that are going through. Now, each of these titles has a group of classic games, right? So the Marvel and Capcom collection has Punisher, which is actually the first Marvel and Capcom combined game. That was done in 1993. It's a beat 'em up game. And then we are going to have Children of the Atom. That's X-Men Children of the Atom. Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter. Marvel Superheroes. X-Men versus Street Fighter. Marvel vs. Capcom. And Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So those are all the games in the Marvel Capcom collection. In the Capcom Fighting Collection, we have the games are from years 1994 to 2003, and it's Darkstalkers, Darkstalkers Revenge, Super Puzzle Fighter, Vampire Savior, Super Gem Fighter, Vampire Hunter, Vampire Savior 2, and Hyper Street Fighter 2 Anniversary Edition. So that was released June 24th, 2022. Then we have the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, and that is with some SNK games. So we are going to have in that Plasma Sword, Power Stone 2, Capcom versus SNK, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Capcom versus SNK 2. And that is what is in that bundle there. So it's very interesting that they are bringing good quality of life adjustments to these games. Now, in the Capcom Fighting Collection 2, that is going to be released on May 16th, 2025, which is a good month away. So what I think happened was, as time has passed, and considering that we didn't get the Marvel Collection until November 22nd, 2024, which is a bit more recent, but the Capcom Fighting Collection, the first one, was June 24th, 2022. Adjustments have been made since then. So quality of life has changed, and as we are getting closer to May 16th, 2025, those adjustments that are automatically going to be in the Fighting Collection 2 are now going to be applied to the previous titles. So I think that's very, very interesting, and at the same time, very, very cool. So let's take a look here and see what new things we are going to be in store for. Okay, so here's the date, which is tomorrow. Okay, now they're saying specifically an X-Men versus Street Fighter that we are going to have access to 3 versions of the game. And the last one is going to be the one that is the most responsive and smoothest, right? So 960910, that is the oldest, right? Which would be the earliest. So I bet you, as the game was progressing and updates were coming through, that is when 961004 came out, and then we had 961023, which is the most responsive one. And if you want to, you can switch between any of those versions as long as you go into the EX settings. Now, this is only for X-Men versus Street Fighter. So that's a very cool thing. And then you can see the response times as we play through. So when you see the Yoga Drill, Dulcim is already on the ground. And the trajectory's changed a little also. And then we're also seeing here Juggernaut is hitting Dictator. And Dictator lands and already recovers by the time that he is starting to get his landing frames from the first edition. Okay, so specifically in Marvel vs. Capcom 2, there is a resolution option. You can up the resolution and detail in the game by 2. So if you go into your display and sound settings, and then right there on internal resolution, you can hit it to 2. which is updated by today's standards. If you want it how the game was originally done, and it would have been the standard up until tomorrow, you hit original select. And you keep it at original select. But now we're upping it by 2 for definition, and that is where they're giving you the option with the arrow. So here we go. So what they're basically saying here is the original. We have a finger here that's very pixelated, right? And here, completely flat. But if you look to the side, here, it's smoother. And this is more rounded now. It's very nice. It's very neat, right? And here, what they're saying is look at the bell. Now, if you look at the brim of the bell, it's very pixelated and looks like it's stairs. But if you go here, it's much smoother, right? And very cool. It looks very, very good. So once again, this is for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And that's still highly competitive game. So you can go to tournaments and sign up for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. And this is an option for better graphics. Okay, so offline. People get these games, and the newest features that were available for the Marvel Capcom Collection that was released November 22nd, 2024, and the Capcom Fighting Collection, which was released June 24th, 2022, was online play, rollback, one-button specials, songs in the jukebox, art in the gallery, ranked matches, leaderboards, online training room, online amenities updated to current amenities that we have now in our training rooms, and the features involved in that. But what it did not have access to is offline versus. So a friend comes over to your house, they say, hey, we want to play. Let's get 1 versus 1. Couldn't do it. But now we can. So they're saying you can select any game. Now, the only reason why they're having Marvel Capcom on the screen is because this is the specific collection that we are looking at. But you can also do this in the Capcom Collection, the first one, and you can do this in the and you can do this in the Capcom Collection for the second one, but that's not coming out until mid-May, okay? May 16th. So May 16th, we can have online play, but we do not have access to that tomorrow, which is April 16th. So let's take a look here. Pick any of the games on the screen in your collection. Go to select a game, mode select, and you pick versus mode. And then it says, okay, player 1 is the person that's in control. You are now in the versus mode. You want your opponent to be CPU. You want your opponent to be human. You want your opponent to be, well, I guess the training room would be the dummy, but it would go between human and PCU. Oh, yeah. So, we have a person, and that would be your buddy that is visiting, or for whatever reason, you might want to just, ready up on player 2. The victory conditions are very cool. You can decide what games you want it to be. You can be a first to 3, a first to 5, a first to 10, whatever you want. And then they have all the other choices on the screen there. So that is very, very cool there. Yeah. So they only give you CPU or human, which, that makes sense. Now, whether you win or lose, it automatically asks you if you want a rematch, and you can hit yes or no, that's very handy. Okay, now, this is very important, and I thought it was a little bit ironic. Menu button settings. So, when you hit the menu button, especially, really it doesn't make a difference what game it is. But some games are more aggressive with button hitting than others. Or it just depends on the person if they're mashing, depending on the game, what's going on, and whatever else. Your hands can slip all over whatever device or controller or arcade stick or leverless that you have, right? So, to try to stop execution errors in the menu button settings, they made it now so that if you hold down the menu button, then you can access the menu. But if you hit it by accident because you're trying to do something, and it's especially important if it's competition, 99% of the time they give your opponent the win because you made an error in force stopping the game. So they give the win over to the other person. I found this extremely interesting because during the EVO award ceremony, they had a Marvel vs. Capcom 2 special event. And it was Yipes versus Stanford. And Stanford hit, or everybody, or not everybody, but it was, I guess, basically more leaning towards figuring out that it was Stanford's stick that had somehow activated a menu screen. What do you do in a situation like that? Traditionally, the rules would state the person that did not hit the button or did not have the error of whatever it may be. It could be something random like a random desyncing, a battery shutting down, the controller or the stick or the leverless malfunctioning. Whatever it is, the opposite person gets the point, right? So this helps knock some of that down a little bit. So what they're saying now is you want to access the menu mode. We've noticed people have accessed it before by accident in however they may do it. So to commit to accessing the menu, you have to hold down on the menu button and then it will open up. So it specifically says here, menus during online play can now be opened with a long press to avoid accidental inputs. So that is very, very cool. I think that was a great idea. Okay, game reset. So here we go. And what's going on now is that you hit the menu button, right? And you held down on the menu button and it paused the game. So you have some options there. You can resume it, you can quit, you can look at your controller, you can do whatever. But what they're saying is now is that if you decide to resume, then you have some options to go along with that. You can actually restart the game. There you go. So then you could say, okay, resume. It says, okay, do you want to restart the game? You can hit yes or no. There you go. Now, they're saying that there are new pieces of art in the gallery, and that is by Shinkiro So we're going to be seeing all kinds of really cool stuff there, and we can sort of tell that this is definitely a Marvel vs. Capcom um, rendering here, and it looks like this is Morgan. This may be Blackheart here. This hand looks like it may be from the Hulk, possibly. So we're just going to have to see who all these characters are in that's the new art in the gallery. Bonus tracks. The traditional music is now being remixed and updated and added into the game, right? So specifically for Marvel vs. Capcom, they have the theme of Captain America, theme of Cyclops, theme of Jin, and theme of Captain Commando. And that's all made by Cap Jams. So those songs are specifically in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. The Capcom Fighting Collection 1 and the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 will have their own remixes, but they won't have the Marvel ones because this is specifically the Marvel collection. And then they may or may not have some art also by Shinkiro. They may be focusing on another artist, or maybe he did some things for them. But for this example, they're using the Marvel vs. Capcom game. So we'll have to see what the answer is going to be for that. So all of this, and then they do a little recap here. So resolution up by 2 times for definition. Offline versus having a buddy sit against you instead of the CPU. The menu button, committing to holding down the menu button to access the menu instead of worrying about an execution error, hitting it by accident. And the game reset in that menu area, you can go and you can start the game from the beginning again. So that's going to be available on all of the collections. The Marvel vs. Capcom Collection, Capcom Fighting Collection, Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which does not come out until May 16th. This patch is April 16th. So we're 1 month ahead for the Capcom Fighting Collection to be updated and for the Marvel Capcom Collection to be updated. And anything else that I'm really seeing, that's about it. But it's very cool. Lots of options, lots of cool things to check out and see. New things literally to see with the art, new music to listen to with the remixes, new details to see with the resolution options. Offline is great for especially locals, people playing face to face. The menu button setting for, just crazy execution issues, and, you don't want to have something like that. You don't get an automatic loss because, maybe there was a button dead on your controller or something. Well, that not necessarily that. Maybe your controller just decided to desync, or there was a fray in the wire and something odd happened. You can get a little bit more of a leeway with that, so you don't have to worry about them saying, oh, it's because you hit the menu button and now you have to give your game to the other guy. It's like, no, you don't have to worry about that anymore. And then the game reset option where you can just put the game to the start intro mode. So very, very cool there. Lots of good stuff to look forward to by the 16th. It says if you want to check out more information or any news, check out the Marvel vs. Capcom website there. And of course, that's for this game specifically. But don't forget, there's also the Capcom Collection 1 that was in 2022. And then in 2025, in May 16th, is going to be the Capcom Collection 2. So, very, very cool things. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. The update comes out tomorrow, and something very fun there, and keeping the retro scene alive. And all these games, even if they're not competitive retro games, the fact that we have the ability now to play and share them online, there's more options, there's more things to do. You can play against friends, there's leaderboards, there's ranked matches, you can play offline against each other. So many good things to breathe new life into these games. And the current amenities and choices that we have now in the current games, we're now putting into the previous games, because those games they're still good games. They're just older, and really they're a part of how everything has changed and moved along the way. So without these games, we wouldn't be having the fun new games that we have now. So very cool things, lots to look forward to, and this is going to be tomorrow for the update for Marvel vs. Capcom Collection and the Capcom Collection 1. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys all later. Bye.